Namaskar, friends. I welcome you all to the Hindu editorial analysis on October 7, 2023. Friends, have you ever seen a book which is running into lines by lines, pages and pages, and there is no full stop? Only substitute for full stop in this book is and. The word and or the conjunction word and. And this and when it starts with a fresh line, the A, which is the first letter of the word and, is written in small letters. Friends, I am talking about a different style of writing adopted by the minimalist writer Jan Foss. He is the modern Samuel Beckett and Franz Kafka. To put it in words, the voice of the unsayable. Unsayable means those who cannot say anything, especially the depressed minds, the persons who are suffering from the dark tumults of the mind, the sea which is raging within, the waves which is raging within, out of melancholy, feeling lonely, and those people who want to speak, however, are unable to speak anything. For them, we have a writer. His name is Jan Foss. And rightly, he is awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature this year. He writes in one of the official languages of Norway, that is Norwegian. This Norwegian language is spoken by only 10% of the Norwegians. Yet he could manage his books to be translated into around 40 to 50 languages. Who is a minimalist writer? A minimalist writer is one who is reducing his broad length of words running into several lines into one word. In a book named Septology, which I referred in the beginning of our discussion, he creates a 1250 pages trilogy. Trilogy means running into 3 volumes. What happens in this book, Septology, is that he is using very minimal sentences for expressing things. He comes, he goes, he says everything in present tense. He swings. Initially, what is seemingly difficult for the characters in the book is that it becomes very easy. It is like dragging one person's mind from the gloom to the brightest side of the mind. Initially, certain things may find difficult for us. However, when we repeatedly strive and go a little bit further, what happens is that this gloomy mind turns bright because we feel that that is the new normal for us. Friends, a cursive reading of the book Septology has given me some kind of idea of this writer. He puts the human mind. In the book, the protagonist is a artist who is a painter, and his agonies when he shares with his friends and relatives and other people. Initially, it looks very difficult. Even the other people also share their pangs and agonies. And when the little bit effort is given, this vanishes. That is yon first for you. For this kind of writing, from the gloom to the brightness, septology is a great example. Friends, there is another book which he has written, Melancholy. What does melancholy mean? Melancholy means the kind of singular overtone the lonely man or woman expresses, some kind of song which is very sad, which portrays the sadness within. That is melancholy for you. John Foss' first book was a novel, Black Wretch. Thereafter, he wrote dramas also. Dramas named Mother and Child, then the child, then the mother, lots of experiments. He wrote children's books also. So everybody's writer now has couched Nobel Prize within his claim. We congratulate him, the great writer of the times, John Foss of Norway, all the success in his life. This is the long waited prize which he has got, my dear friends. Now, moving on to the editorial articles of today. The first editorial article is titled Revenue Riddles. What does it show? It talks about GST collections. The September GST collections, which is reflecting the August month's sales, have crossed 1.63 trillion. And this is a very encouraging trend, although it is not so encouraging when compared to the first quarter. It has been 6 months now, and GST collections are growing at a steady pace, but it has come down. In total, the total GST collections for the first 6 months period is 9 trillion. It is more than the previous period, at least 10% more than the previous 6 months figures. And since August 1, there was the eBay bills for having people having turnover more than 5 crores in a year. And this eBay bills itself crossed 9.5 crores. However, this has not reflected in the August sales. And the second criteria is that for 2017-18 financial year, this was the year in which September month was the time in which the past dues since 2016, 17, 18 had to be deposited. Therefore, the Hindu is saying that though the September figures of the GST collections crossed 1.63 trillion, however, it reflects two things. One thing is that the e-way bills are made mandatory. However, the encouraging shift towards the GST collections have not been seen. The second one is that it was the past due collection month, the last day of the past due collections of 2017-18. However, this has not encouragingly reflected in the September collections. Friends, the next article is titled Fractured Collective. I hope you understand something about the American Congress. The Republicans are now at power. The Democrats are the opposition. Then what happens is that US House of Representatives Speaker Kevin McCarthy has been ousted now. This is the first time the Speaker of the House of Representatives, which is the lower house, has been ousted. Why this has been done is that even some of the Republican representatives have just crossed over to the Democrats and joined with them in ousting McCarthy. He requested for a temporary spending grant which required the permission of the House, which was not given. And on the Ukraine Russian war, Ukraine was to be supported for this billions of rupees, billions of dollars were requested by the Biden administration, which is not acceptable to the House. Because why should we spend for a war which is causing dent on our economy is the question. Therefore, the consequence is that US House of Representatives Speaker Kevin McCarthy is ousted. Ousted means thrown out by a motion voting which saw that he exiting the scene. The next article is, my dear friends, is titled A Warning Shot for Committing the Crime of Journalism. This is with reference to the arrest of editor-in-chief of NewsClick is being caught for no reason. Here, it reminds of the Stalinist era in Russia, where you tell me the person, I will tell what charges he can be put under. This is the police Raj which is happening. The government at the center doesn't have the courage to declare emergency. That is why it's showing certain allergies towards the media persons. The Dainik Bhaskar BBC were subjected to income tax raids. Then the money laundering charges are being framed on the NewsClick editor. Then it is about national security, where the media one was caught and then released. Then it is about disrupting the peace for which Siddiq Kapan was caught. So all this shows that hostilities towards the media is rising, the hatred towards the media is rising. Why this is being pegged is not known. The media is being seen as a hostile person. The journalism is seen as a crime in India, and free press is seen as an obstacle to government. The fourth estate of the government, which is the media, has to be given freedom to report. If they are not given the freedom to report, what will happen is that the public will not get any kind of reality which the media's perspective reflects. The NewsClick is charged with the Chinese investment. The writer is writing, even if it is true the Chinese investment is there, if he is reporting on the poor people in India, about the hunger in India, about the unemployment in India, let him write. Let him write and tell the people what is going on here. That is where the effective democratic government lies, my dear friends. The next article in the line is the titled Aligning Higher Education with the United Nations SDGs. What are SDGs, my dear friends? SDGs are Sustainable Development Goals. These are 17 goals which the United Nations have thrust upon every country. Even India has a target for achieving these goals by 2030. The Sustainable Development Goals is titled The first one is about poverty, eradicating poverty. Second one is about eradicating hunger. Third one is about health care. The fourth one is about access to quality education. Fifth one is about gender equality. Then the seventh one is about clean energy. Eighth one is about the government's efforts in economic growth by providing good employment. Then the 10th one is about the inequalities in India. Then the ninth one is about the startups. The 11th one is about sustainable cities. The 12th one is about providing some good environment for work. Then the 13th one is about the global warming, and the 15th is about life on land. How does the life on land, which is the 15th goal, is achieved is that if we just manage the fourth goal, the sustainable development goal, which is the access to quality education, especially the higher education. If the access to higher education is provided, if education is just aligned with the sustainable development goals, and if education is aligned in such a manner that research forms part of the education in universities, even multidisciplinary education. For example, a person who is studying physics is allowed to study history along with physics. If such alignment is made possible, what will happen is that the Sustainable Development Goal 15, which is life on earth, will be like heaven. So, quality education, that is higher education, the highly educated people have 54% more chances of getting employment and thereby ensuring the economic growth, which is the one of the sustainable development goal. The economic growth is reflected in sustainable development goal 8. All these sustainable development goals will work in tandem only if we provide the sustainable development goal 4, which is access to quality education, that is higher education. My dear friends, let me sum up. First one is the GST collections are encouraging, and therefore what has to be done is that the government has to look out for the January March 2024 period when the festivals have worn out and the real challenge will be lying there. So the growth has to be given impetus when the growth will slump to 5.7% from the present 7 plus percentage of growth. Second one is that, which is about America. Any government which is funding the war, which is happening in some other countries, has to get the confidence of the House of Representatives first. Otherwise, what will happen that the ouster of Speaker McCarthy kind of things will happen. Then the fourth is that government has to encourage the fourth estate, which is the press. Otherwise, how will the people know that a democratically elected government is in place? The fifth one, which is important, is that the fourth one, which is important, is that the sustainable development goals have to be given importance by making education first, ensuring education first, which is the SDG 4, for the end in view, which is the SDG 15, that is life on earth. My dear friends, let me take bid adieu now. Take care. Bye. See you.